Hey guys, what's up? It's Friday, and this is my usual weekly wrap-up type of thing. There's Torchlight Coffee, me talking about things and stuff like that. The last couple weeks, I kind of veered off a little bit, talked about like 2 weeks ago it was The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then last week it was Godzilla. I didn't see any new movies this week. I haven't seen X-Men Days of Future Past yet, so I don't have any movies to talk about this week. So I'm going to get back into talking about things that happened during the week in video games and entertainment that interested me and that I found exciting. First and foremost, Diablo 3 PC players, there was an anniversary buff for a week where they buffed the drop rates of legendary weapons by 100%, and they decided to make that buff permanent, which is awesome. It's not, and some people are complaining, which okay, I can see both sides of the fence, but it's not like it's raining legendaries. I would say the most I've gotten is two out of a T1 Rift at one time, maybe three. I think I might have got like two legendary. I might have got a legendary, a set piece, and a legendary crafting material. But it's not like they're falling out of the sky and you're swimming in them or anything. But it kind of throws everybody a bone. At the rate I was going, it would have taken me forever to gear up some of my characters the way I wanted to, and at least now it might take half of forever because even though, people think, oh, the drop rates are increased. It's not like, for a demon. God, excuse me. It's not like every time you take a demon hunter into a Nephilim Rift, not like every enemy you're going to kill drops a Cinder Coat. There's a lot of shit legendaries that serve me no purpose on any of my characters. I've been turning them, and that's the other thing. You need the Forgotten Souls, and it's not like they're plentiful. So it kind of works out. I think people are overlooking the bigger picture there, but there's, it's. I think it's a good thing. It'll renew interest in the game, and maybe Gearbox can learn something from this to breathe some life into Borderlands 2, leading into the release of the pre-sequel. But we'll see. Nobody ever accused Gearbox of always being smart about things. Also, apparently there's a little bit of a teaser about the next X-Men movie at the end of Days of Future Past. So if you do plan on going to see that, stay for the credits and watch the after credits scene. I know what it is already because I'm an idiot and read the story, but if you know anything about the movies, it's not really going to be that big of a surprise, but it might be worth checking out. Apparently, also, former Valve employee Min Lee has let it slip that both Half-Life 3 and Left 4 Dead 3 are in development. That's great news for Half-Life people if it turns out to be true, but it's Valve, so if Half-Life 3 comes out before I'm 40, I'll be surprised. So they got 8.5 years, roughly. It's something I've been looking forward to is Evolve. Looks pretty cool. It's developed by Turtle Rock Studios, who were the original creators of the first Left 4 Dead. See how I did that there? One story led into another. But it got a release date of October 21st, and that game looks pretty cool. If you don't know what it is, it's a multiplayer, cooperative and competitive multiplayer shooter. You can either play as the humans or the monsters, and the monsters, there's one, I think there's just one specific monster that can change and evolve during the course of the match and stuff. But I mean, it looks pretty cool, and I think, yeah, it's coming out for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, all on the same day, so that's good. No staggered release dates there. David Goyer caused some controversy, basically shitting all over She-Hulk fans by saying that she's a giant green porn star that only the Hulk could fuck. And that, I think he missed the boat there, but Stan Lee eventually voiced his opinion on Goyer's comments and said that only a nut would even think of that, which, good going, Mr. Lee. I'm glad he stood up for his characters, because I don't know what Goyer I don't know what his problem is. Goyer writes a couple comic book movies that are well received, and all of a sudden he's a fucking expert on comics. And I don't see Goyer as the second coming of Christ when it comes to DC Comics movie adaptations because, like, for all intents and purposes, like, I think he's kind of a hack when it comes to screenwriting because he wrote Blade Trinity and directed it, and I think when he's left to his own devices as far as the creative aspect of a movie goes, then you get some issues. I think the reason that the Dark Knight movies turned out the way they did was because whatever idea he came up with, he basically planted the seed, and then the Nolan brothers took care of the plant, if you will. I think he's a little bit more sure of himself than people are in general. I don't know. I just don't like David Goyer. I think he's kind of cocky, and I think he's kind of an asshole. That's just me. There was talk that Hugh Jackman wasn't going to portray Wolverine anymore, and now he kind of flip-flopped back and forth on that. Now he's ready to do it again. He wants to do another one. I think he's in Apocalypse. I don't know if he's in that or not. Also, they don't know if Channing Tatum's going to be in it as Gambit, which I'm still not real thrilled about that one there. Because I don't know. I just don't look at Gambit and think Channing Tatum. It's just not. I'm not saying that Taylor Kitsch was perfect. I think some of the issue might have been the movie he was in, but I think Taylor Kitsch would have been a better Gambit. They should have just stuck with him and went with that. The Superman versus Batman movie finally got a title. It's Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, which I think is a terrible title. First of all, by putting Superman's name after Batman's, you're basically saying, well, it was supposed to be the Man of Steel too, but since we don't think that Superman can stand on his own two legs by himself, we're going to use the star power of the Batman character to draw in an audience and hopefully make some money because, you know, everything has to be $1 billion franchise anymore. I don't know. I think DC's kind of screwing up here. They should have just taken their time. There's no reason that they need to catch up with Marvel. Marvel's been building their cinematic universe for years now. You know, they didn't make Iron Man and then throw in Captain America and Iron Man 2 and then be like, oh, there's an Avengers movie. You know, I mean, they built up to it and they took their time with it, and I think DC's just rushing too fast to try to get to the finish line, and I don't think it's going to work out the way they want, which is disappointing because DC has some very good characters, but whoever's in charge of their cinematic universe is just, they should get whoever does their animated movies, because whoever's in charge of those gets the idea. Their animated movies are far superior to their live action movies, which is kind of a shame, but especially now with this day and age with CG and all that, and the way you can make a movie, it's not like it's that hard to make a grand scale superhero epic nowadays. I mean, just look at the Marvel movies. And I don't know, any excitement I have for this Batman versus Superman movie is trying to keep it reined in. I like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. Henry Cavill so far seems like a good Superman, but still not sold on Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and that can go bad real fast. I think what they don't realize is it has more potential to go bad than it does to go in the right direction. So, you know, we'll see how that works out for them. Watch Dogs comes out next week. I don't know. I kind of have a passing interest in Watch Dogs. I think it's one of those titles that when it goes on sale, I'll pick it up. But there's a lot of controversy surrounding the title with resolution and graphical fidelity and blah 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 blah. And like it's going so far as people are bitching that the Xbox 360 and the PS3 versions of the game don't look next gen. Now let that sink in for a second. People are complaining that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 versions don't look next gen. Duh. You're talking about consoles that have been out since what, 2005 and 2006, I think. Yeah. And the fact that games of the caliber of Watch Dogs and Wolfenstein and what was the last one? Titanfall came out for the Xbox 360, and Ubisoft has said that they're going to keep releasing their titles on the last gen consoles. The fact that titles like that are still coming out for those consoles is big in and of itself. But I don't understand where people think that they're going to be on par with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One versions of the titles, or the PC versions of the they're not. They don't. I hate to say it, but it's almost like people just bitch to have something to bitch about. Or the other thing I hate to say is the common IQ of the gaming population is coming down. But I mean, to sit there and bitch that a PlayStation 3 game doesn't look as good as doesn't look next gen, which you're implying that it doesn't look as good as the PlayStation 4 version, which is a no fucking brainer. It's not going to look as good as the next gen version of the game or the current gen version of the game. I guess it would be. But people now, I think, they're just bitching to bitch, especially when it comes to Watch Dogs, because I guess people feel deceived about the way the reveal of that game was handled, because the way it looks now doesn't look as good as the initial trailer or the announcement trailer or whatever. People forget Sony did the same thing with Killzone 2. Remember how that went? And it's not like it's as bad as the E3 demo of Colonial Marines and then the turd that we got, there's a slight downgrade, I guess you could say, but Watch Dogs still looks pretty fucking good on the next gen consoles and the PC. And actually the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 4 versions don't look that bad. They're a little behind the other versions, but compared to other games on the consoles, they're fine. So I don't understand what people are complaining about. But I think what the holdback is going to be, and continue to be until they abandon it, and they can't, is going to be storage mediums. Even the Naughty Dog people were saying that they ran out of storage space doing the PS4 version of The Last of Us, on the Blu-ray. And a dual layer Blu-ray holds what, like 50 gigs, and they're running out of storage. And even some of these games, they're huge. They're getting bigger and they're getting bigger, and that's what's gonna ultimately be the biggest hurdle, I think, is the storage medium. And I wouldn't be surprised if in a year or two you start seeing next gen games coming out on 2 discs. Because if they're already reaching a point, if at least one developer has already completely filled the capacity of a 50 gig Blu-ray disc, it's gonna happen again. It wouldn't surprise me if Kojima starts running his mouth about how they ran out of storage space or filled a dual layer Blu-ray to capacity with Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, but I mean, we'll see. But as the games get bigger and bigger and more technical, I think you're going to start seeing more developers voicing their complaints about the storage limitations of Blu-rays. Titanfall, I think, let's be honest, Titanfall isn't like graphically intensive or anything, but I think it was a pretty big download on PC. I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say like 46 gig, something like that. I can't remember for sure. And granted, I mean, they don't compress everything like they do for the console releases so that they can fit them on the disc, but I think these next-gen consoles aren't going to be the huge home run hitters that people thought they were. I think they're going to last a little bit, but I don't think you're going to see the longevity out of them like you did with the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to fizzle out a little bit quicker than what their parent companies would like, especially since, you know, even Nintendo, I guess, is already working on a new console. Granted, they're playing catch up, but I don't think you're going to get 10 years out of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which is kind of disappointing. But we'll see what happens, and maybe once developers wrap their head around, which I don't understand how it's hard to get your head wrapped around the software since they're basically mid-grade PCs, but we'll see what happens, and they'll go from there. Plus, you know, Steam boxes will be coming out, so that'll be kind of interesting to see what kind of sales the Steam boxes have, but they're a little unfocused with they got too many, and I think that's going to be a tough sell. But until then, guys, that's basically it for the week. Kind of short, wrap everything up. But I want to thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye, guys.